Good morning. Welcome to Wednesday's Early Morning Intuitive Guidance. I'm Dr. Bonnie Nussbaum here with some words of wisdom to start your day off well. And I am really excited about today's reading. Excuse me. It's from a book I am currently reading. It's not a new book, but some of you will have read it, and some of you hopefully will decide to yank it back off the shelf after today's Early Morning Intuitive Guidance and read it again because there's some good stuff in here. And I'm kind of laughing because the little banner that shows my name here, not only matches my shirt, looks like we called each other to dress today, but every time it does the closed captioning, it slaughters that last name. Absolutely kills it. So, good morning, Beth. Glad you are here. You're the first one popping on this morning. Welcome, welcome. So, lots of good things to think about and learn about and remember today. So, we'll give it a minute for the practical rebels to begin to pop on to find me. I need a drink anyway because I've got a frog. Good morning, Gwen. Glad you're here. We'll see who else decides to join us early and who may want to watch it after the fact. So I've been noticing that on various platforms, there are people making comments, and on Facebook and LinkedIn, I can see the comments. On YouTube, I cannot see the comments. So I don't know what the deal is on that. Good morning, Miss Nancy. Glad you are here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I think you guys are going to love this chapter because, first of all, we get to make up a new word. And second of all, it's talking about something that is, as always, highly relevant to right here, right now. Even though this book is from, let me tell you the publishing date, 2013. 2013. So 13 years ago, and it's way relevant today. Way relevant today. So let us start with some tapping and some breath. And I think I'm going to start here today. Reset, reset, reset. Breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. Let your shoulders drop. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Notice how it feels to bring that air in through the nose. And then release it through the mouth. Switching to collarbone. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Grounding through your feet into Mother Earth, base of your spine into Mother Earth, as if you're sending down roots. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Does that feel lovely? Just even that little bit of a reset can be so helpful. So, our book, Carry On Warrior, The Power of Embracing Your Messy, Beautiful Life by Glennon Doyle Melton. And after this book, down the road a piece, she had an even messier, beautiful life, which I love that she's real. She's just real, where we're not all put together and perfect and all the things, despite all those little vignettes people post on all of these platforms, right? Welcome to the fourth person who's here. Your name isn't here, but I'm sure you're on one of those platforms that just isn't quite catching up to StreamYard yet. Glad you're here. Glad you're here. So what I want to do is I want to read a little section out of the one. Good morning. Good morning, Mel. Glad you are here. Welcome. Read a little section out of one chapter called On Gifts and Talents. And I want to change it to humans. Instead of just identifying it as children, kids, humans, because this fits for us as adults as well. So, and then I want to shift to another chapter that is called The Golden Coin, in case you happen to have the book and you want to go back and reread. And there too, I'm going to modify it so that we're not just talking about kids. Well, actually, she does that in the chapter. She shifts from whenever someone asks her a question about kids, she thinks about it in terms of grown-ups. Because where do we have the most influence? On ourselves. On ourselves. So here's the chapter, the little section in On Gifts and Talents. Breathe in. Breathe out. Every person is gifted and talented. Every single one. I know this to be true. Every single person is gifted and talented in a particular area. Every single one also has particular challenges. And now I'm going to switch it to kids just because we can also talk about this in terms of a work setting. But for some kids, the classroom setting is the place where their genius is hardest to see and their challenges are easiest to see. Were you that kid? Good morning, Abigail. Glad you're here. Welcome. Do you know that kid? Absolutely. Absolutely. They're those kids that, I heard teachers say, this one's either going to end up the CEO of a company or in prison. How do we guide people when they have that capacity that moves them forward in amazing, sometimes catastrophic ways, and keep them on the road as best we can? Although for some, again, who are we to judge the path they take? Maybe that catastrophic seeming path they take is exactly the path they need to learn what they're here to learn. Who knows? And who am I to decide that for somebody? Anywho, and since kids spend so much time in a classroom, that's a tough break for those particular kids. When a classroom setting shows their flaws so much more than it highlights their gifts. That was me. That was me. I didn't come into my own until college. So all the way along, I'm watching my next sister down, 18 months younger, who excelled in school. She was what I would call a hunter or a gatherer. She can sit there and stare at a page and be present and learn and all. I was like, a classroom just doesn't work for me. If I can march around, if I can stare out the window, if I can listen in headphones, if I can do other stuff, it'll probably be okay. So here's the sentence where she unleashes on us a new word that I think is fantastic. But if we are patient and calm, and we wear our perspectacles, and we keep believing, we will eventually see the specific magic of each child, of each human. How are your perspectacles adjusted right now? I love that word, perspectacles. What a cool word. What a cool word. So, but basically she's saying is we all have gifts and assets, and we all have liabilities and hangups. And what if we could bless and love the whole messy package, right? Unsatisfactory. There we go. And disruptive. Yes. And look at what a marvelous human being you are. Exactly. And there's things we can do to make this easier, right? Don't put 30 kids who are like us in a classroom. That poor teacher's going to go nuts. Either you provide the support for that teacher to deal with all of those little humans, or cut the classroom size down to something that's manageable, where those who are more quiet can still get what they need, but those of us who bank off the walls can also get what we need. We need to revamp some of this stuff. So moving on to the other chapter. And again, let me show you her picture in case you're unfamiliar with her. There she is. Isn't she beautiful? Do you want to know how long her rap sheet is? She's been arrested multiple times. She is in recovery. She had some very rocky times. Then she was married, had 3 perfect children, the drill, right? But she spends all of her books talking about, can we drop the facade? Can we just be real? Can we be who we really are? No one would look at her and think she's got a police record as long as your arm, right? We're human. We have our various forays and adventures into all kinds of crap, right? All kinds of crap. And Nancy, if you bought into that you were unsatisfactory and disruptive, how would that influence your life? Whereas if you realize they don't see the real me, they don't know who I really am as a human. And how many kids can do that, right? There are those kids. I remember once one of my flaws coming out of my woundedness was saying to my daughter, I don't think you can do that. And she looked at me and she said, watch me, and then proceeded to do it. So they teach us. They teach us. So this particular chapter is called The Golden Coin. And it's a little longer, but I think it holds a plethora of insights for all of us. Welcome to those of you whose names aren't rolling. We'll get there eventually. So, the golden coin. Take a breath. Let it go. Put on your Perspectacles. Let's go. A friend recently asked me this question, and I'm going to do some modifications again in terms of where she's talking specifically about children, and I may bump it to humans, okay? And a couple other tweaks. A friend recently asked me this question: how can we give humans the confidence they need to survive on Earth and still encourage some humility, some humbleness, right? My little brain's been flipping this over and over like a pancake that won't cook through, but I haven't considered it in terms of parenting. Usually, when someone asks me a question about parenting, I switch it to a question about grown-ups. How do I encourage my child to be kinder to others becomes, how do I become kinder to others? Take it on. Look at it from your own Perspectacles. After reading the 16th parenting book that contradicted the first 15, I quit trying to become a better parent and decided to try becoming a better person. We usually think of confidence and humility as character traits. She's so confident, he's so humble. But these character traits are easy to fake. Insecure people hide it by boasting. Prideful people hide it behind false humility. Excuse me. It seems the more insecure a person is, the more likely she is to behave confidently, and vice versa. Tricky. Then there are people like me who just get the two constantly mixed up. Like when I write an essay about humility and then spend the rest of the day wondering whether it might actually be the best humility essay ever written by anyone in the history of the world, the character trait I am most proud of is my humility. I'm so humble, it's not even funny. Seriously, just don't try to out humble me. I will wreck your teeny little humility with my own huge humility. Does that sound like anybody we know lately? Even though I feel like a lost cause in regard to this confidence humility issue, good morning, Diane. Glad you are here. I do think it's an important thing to explore, because if we are humble without confidence, we miss the opportunity to become what we want to be when we grow up. And if we are confident without humility, we miss out on the opportunity to become who we want to be when we grow up. Excuse me, big frog today. I think about it all the time in terms of my writing. Spilling myself out like this, is it an act of humility or confidence? I share my faults and flaws, which seems humble. But doesn't the fact that I assume that others will care enough to read and maybe even find my flaws charming betray the confidence behind my humility? Writing, painting, acting, creating, living out loud, are they acts of humility or confidence? Yes, they're both. That's what I've decided. Confidence and humility are two sides of the same coin. They are character traits that stem from the two beliefs I hold most dear. I think most of our character traits are simply manifestations of what we believe to be true. I am confident because I believe that I am a child of God. Change the word if you like. Spirit, creator, all that is. I am humble because I believe that everyone else is too. Let me say that again. Good morning, Barb. Glad you're here. I am confident because I believe that I am a child of God. I am humble because I believe that everyone else is too. Imagine if we all believed these two statements. Holy cow, would our world be different? They go hand in hand. They've got to. If I'm humble but lack confidence, it is because I haven't accepted that there is a divine spark inside me. It means that I don't believe in the miracle that I was made by God for a purpose all my own, and so I am worthy of the space that I occupy on this earth. And as a child of God, no one deserves more respect, joy, or peace than I. As a child of God, I have the right to speak, to feel, to think, and to believe what I believe. These dreams in my heart, these thoughts in my head, they are real and they have a divine origin, and so they are worth exploring, just because I am a child of God. And thankfully, there is nothing I can add to that title to make it more impressive. There is also nothing I can do to lose that title. I am confident not because I am pretty or smart or athletic or talented or kind. Those things change and can be given and taken. I'm confident simply because I am a child of God. That is why I'm confident enough to write honestly, not because I am a good writer. There will always be somebody better. I rely on the belief that I am a child of God, and as such, I have the right to speak my mind with love. This writing thing, it's one of my dreams. And I act on my dreams because I believe that God is not just with me, but in me. I believe that God is the creator of my dreams. So it follows that when I act on them, magical things will happen. How could they not? Being a child of God is a free pass to be brave and bold and take risks and spin around in circles with joy. Okay, people, when was the last time you spun around in circles with joy? I'd probably fall on the ground at this point, given balance, but hey, maybe it's worth a try. If and when I fall, who cares? God will be there to pick me up. That's his job. He's my father. So again, if that doesn't work for you, change it up. All that is. That power that is greater than we are, right? So if I seem non-competitive, if I seem as if I don't care if I'm the best parent or housekeeper or dresser or what have you, it's not because I don't care about being important. It's because I believe I am the most important thing on earth. Why would I care about competing in any other category when I'm already a child of God? Why would I argue over a penny when I've already won the lottery? And, hold please, if I am confident but not humble, it is because I have not fully accepted that everyone has won the lottery. Because everyone has the same amount of God in her. If I am in the habit of turning my back on others, it is because I haven't learned that God approaches us in the disguise of other people. Have you ever wondered about that? When you've had an opportunity to do something nice or well or whatever, the others who are involved, have you ever considered that maybe they're messengers of God to draw that particular response out of you? Hmm? Yes, absolutely, with my granddaughter. There will be so many opportunities to do things that I couldn't do as a parent. And I've inundated my daughter with messages of your job as a parent is tremendously important and tremendously difficult. And please ask for grandparent help. We'll support you with what, even if I don't buy all of what you teach your kid, I will back you up because this is your kid to raise. And I will have the opportunity to teach her things that you're not going to have the time or the yet wisdom to teach her. Yes, God has sent you your angels. Absolutely. And sometimes they come in some pretty gnarly wrappings, don't they? Yesterday, there were two people who were pretty rude to me as I was out and about doing things. And rather than get sucked down the rabbit hole of what did I do wrong? Why are they mad at me? Blah, 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 blah. It was, wonder what's going on in their world that they're in that state of being. That state of being. Angels unaware. Always treat others with kindness. Yes, 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 yes. And especially the people who typically don't get treated with kindness. I haven't told this story in a while, and I'll finish the chapter, I promise. But when I was in training for Psych K, an energy-based method that I use with clients, um, the person to whom this information downloaded itself said that at one point he was sitting at a stoplight and a group of young people were going across the street with their teachers, And they were all people we would call disabled. And the last person in line was a young man in an electric wheelchair who was clearly very spastic. And the person who developed Psych K had the thought, I'm so glad I'm not him. And the young man stopped right in front of his car, turned his head, looked at Rob, and telepathically sent him the message, I am a more evolved being than you are. I came here in this package to help you all learn what you're here to learn. Turned his head, kept driving. Wow. Wow, wow. So, God approaches us in the disguise of other people. If I'm confident but not humble, my mind is closed. If my mind is closed, my heart is closed. A closed heart is so sad. It is the end. A heart cannot grow any larger if it decides to let no more God in, if it decides to let no more humanity in. There is always room for more. A heart expands exactly as much as her owner allows. Ponder that for a moment. Say it in the my heart expands as much as I allow. Isn't that profound? Humility is how I survive praise and criticism of my writing, ideas, and beliefs, because I remember that neither praise nor criticism is really about me. We are all just trying to find the truth. So I try to see different points of view, not as reasons to step back further into my corner, but as opportunities to take baby steps toward the middle of the ring, if for no other reason than to see my opponent a little closer. That perspective change is usually all it takes to remember that I have no opponents other than my own pride. I have no opponents. There we go. Yes, glad you liked that one. So, I am a child of God, and so is everyone else. We are all on the same side. And so, in each new person, I see an invitation to know a new side of God. There are as many sides of God as there are people walking the earth. Isn't that lovely? Isn't that lovely? I think that's why God keeps making people. He's not done telling us about himself yet. And again, she uses the male pronouns. I wouldn't. I would say they. Let's do they. So I think that's why they keep making people. They're not done telling us about themselves yet. So I remember that each person I meet or hear from, even if she's not yet treating me the way I'd like to be treated, is the most important thing on earth. There is no hierarchy of importance, of brilliance. We are each infinity important. We are each infinity important, more brilliant than the sun, because each of us is a child of God. So we better recognize there are two sides of the golden coin I'd like to give each of my children to keep in her pocket forever. Be confident because you are a child of God. Be humble because everyone else is too. Pretty good stuff. Pretty good stuff. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. I'd love to see how you will apply that to yourself and to your day moving forward. Let's incorporate some of this brilliance into our day to day. Have an awesome day. We'll see you again tomorrow. And remember, you're capable of far more than you think you are. You are brilliant. You are confident. You are humble. Bye bye.